So if you're watching this video, you're probably planning a trip to the European Christmas markets. The first time I went, I didn't know what to expect. So here's a list of 10 things that I think will help you plan your trip. The first thing I didn't realize when I went to Christmas markets was how busy they would be. You need to expect big crowds. No matter what time of year you visit, early in the season, late, closer to Christmas, they're just going to be very busy. There are a few ways to avoid the big crowds or at least have a less crowded time when you're there. One is to go early. Most markets open in the early afternoon, right around noon, a little bit after, and those are the less crowded times. The evenings are extremely crowded and weekends are really crowded. When we were in Vienna, it was Friday or Saturday evening. It was snowing like crazy, and there were thousands of people everywhere. So go early. It's the best time to shop. If you're looking for certain things, you'll have less people at each vendor stall, and you'll just have a little bit more time to look around. But don't avoid the night times. Even though they're crowded, they are a beautiful time to walk around the market. And the crowds are kind of part of the fun and the joy of the whole thing. So expect the crowds, work with the crowds, be patient, but don't expect to be there by yourself. The first thing I didn't realize when I went to my first market trip was that there are more than one market in each city. I thought you went to Berlin or you went to Munich and there was going to be one big market. There's actually dozens of them in most big cities, and even some small towns will have multiples. Some are more local oriented and some are the big festivals that you see. But be prepared by knowing what markets you want to explore, have a map so that you can sort of see what's near each other, so that you can visit different ones at the same time, and just be prepared for the fact that you're not going to find one market in Vienna. You're going to find 20 markets. All of them are a little different. Some specialize in handmade things or artisan things. Some are more food oriented, but they're all interesting. Just be prepared for a lot of different markets. So cash versus credit's another thing. Some markets only take cash and some markets are fine with credit cards. So be prepared and have some local currency, usually a euro, but some places use a different currency around Europe. And don't expect every place to take a credit card. One of the things I was surprised about is Vienna is a huge city, but they were much more cash oriented than credit card oriented. But then when you went to Prague was fine, almost everything could be charged. So have a little bit of money in your pocket as well as your credit card so that you can make your purchases. So I belong to a lot of online market groups to help people plan. And one of the questions that you always see on there is, will there be snow? And the answer is maybe, but probably not. So if you're going to see snow, make sure you go as far north as you can for your markets, but even then you're not guaranteed it. Last year in Vienna, it snowed like crazy. In Prague, it snowed like crazy. But the locals said that that was a fluke. Most of the time you're gonna just see rain. So don't go expecting snow. You might luck out and get some. It's beautiful when it happens, but it's not the norm. So you need to be prepared for the weather. Some people were expecting snow and they're gonna get rain. Sometimes it's warm, sometimes it's cold, and that can happen all in one day. So make sure you bring layers, make sure you have waterproof shoes, waterproof jacket, things that you can bundle up in when it gets really cold. It could be sub-zero, or you might have a nice sunny day where you need to get a little lighter in your layers. Don't worry about what you're going to wear because no one's going to see anything but your jacket, your pants legs, and your shoes. But be practical because you're going to be walking around a lot outside and the weather is going to change constantly. The other question I hear a lot is, was there anywhere to sit down? So markets are not friendly to people who don't like to walk or stand. You're going to be walking around a lot, you're going to be standing to eat, Most markets have like a little tent or pavilion where you can take your drink or food, and there'll be tables, but you'll stand at those tables. There's not chairs or stools around the tables. So you really want to be prepared to be on your feet for a long time. You might be lucky and find a bench in a park or along the street to sit in, but sometimes they're going to be wet and you're not going to want to sit down in them anyways because it rains most of the time or snows during the market. So be prepared to stand and be prepared to walk. Another question I've recently had while trying to convince some friends to go to a Christmas market with us next year is they don't really want to shop a lot, or is it all about shopping? And markets aren't all about shopping. Some people go strictly to shop for Christmas stuff. I honestly hardly bought anything on previous market trips because one, I've worked forever owning a store where I sold tons of Christmas stuff, so I really wasn't overly impressed with products. Most of what I found was food, and I just found it to be more of a festival atmosphere. It's really engaging. You get to learn about the culture, you get to learn about food, and it's a great way to add on to exploring the city by going to the markets. But I didn't think it was the greatest shopping thing on earth, and you could go to markets and not buy a single thing and have a great time. So you can shop or not shop, it's up to you. Another peculiarity of European Christmas markets, but what I found to be really charming, is that you are able to buy mugs, which I have one here from a Vienna Christmas market, and you go into a vendor and you're purchasing a mulled wine or a blue wine, and you'll pay a deposit on top of what the drink costs. So you can keep the mug, they'll keep the deposit, no big deal. You can return the mug to any vendor and get your deposit money back. So you don't have to go back to the same vendor that you purchased it from, but you do need to return it to one of the food vendors who will give you a deposit back. This is great because it's more environmentally friendly, and these make great souvenirs. One thing to know is not every city or market has the mugs. So I didn't take too many of my first cities, and in my last city, which was Prague, they didn't do that at most of the vendors, so they served everything in a paper or plastic cup. So I didn't get as many mugs as I would have liked. So it's a great way to collect souvenirs. It's fun to have a glühwein because it will warm you up, and it's just part of the tradition of the whole food at the market. And something else to know about food at market is it's not healthy. There's lots of sausages and cheeses and fried things, all the stuff that you would find at most festivals, whether you're in Europe or in the US. That's part of the charm of it, and it's all got a very much a German kind of feel to it, with the food that you're going to get at most of these markets. So another thing that I wasn't sure about when you went to markets is that all there is to do when you're there? And the answer is yes, it can be all you do. You can just spend all your time at the different markets, shopping, eating, drinking, and getting around the city that way. But really, I found it to be a great way to explore the culture of a country or a city through the markets, but then also explore other things. So I would say allow time in each city to explore other things. So you might go to a market early in the afternoon or two, and then go to a museum, or in the mornings, you're never going to find a market that's open in the morning, so you might do something in the morning and then go out to markets in the afternoon, and then go out in the evening again. It's just a great way to explore the city, but it's not the only thing you want to do on a market trip. One big piece of advice is to plan ahead. So it's very busy. I told you that the crowds are crazy at most of these markets. So you want to make sure you have a plan. Book your hotels, have your flights ready. You might be able to pull off a last-minute Christmas market trip, but most likely you're not going to be able to do it because it's a very busy time in some of the biggest cities in Europe. Also be prepared if you're traveling from city to city with train reservations and tickets. I found having a reserved seat on a train between big market destinations was just way more convenient, because I saw people having to get up and move around the train because someone was in a reserved seat and they didn't have a reserved seat. So it's a great thing to plan ahead and be prepared, and don't leave it all to the last minute. I hope you found this video helpful in planning your market trip. If you did, subscribe and hit like below. If you have any questions, throw them in the comments. I'll try to get you answers to those. And if you are off on a European market trip this year, enjoy, have a great time, and bring back lots of great memories.